according to our, is it the charter?
Yes.
That I have to deliver a budget by April 15th. So, not wanting to peak too soon, here we are on the 15th. The first budget that any executive does is probably not the easiest one, because most of the work has been done before you got here. Most of the priorities have been set before you got here. So the transition, you can only sort of make a few points about your own priorities. It's also because, and you have to rely on the people who have been there. And first, I want to thank those who have been there, because they continued on and gave us incredible good work and helped me understand everything that had to be done. Our interim Chief Operating Officer, Scott Chadwick, thank you for all the work. He was the Human Resources Director, and now acting Chief Operations Officer. Thank you, Scott, for taking the lead. Greg Beisch is the interim Chief Financial Officer and also the Risk Manager. Thank you for all the work, Greg. Of course, you know Vince Hall, my Chief of Staff. Jeff Storak just joined us from the Independent Budget Analyst and is our Financial Manager, head of the budget. This is Nelson Hernandez, who's the Deputy Chief Operations Officer, and Julio Canzal. Is that right? Did I get it right? Julio is the second in command, but before the first in command got here, he did a lot of work. Thank you, Julio, for all your expertise and all this. The team was really incredible in helping us not only understand the budget and trying to deal with the transition. So this is a transition budget. I would say it's, by and large, what was in force before, modified by certain priorities that I tried to put on. I said to Scott and the team, my chief priorities are public safety and neighborhood services. And that's what they tried to do in tweaking this. We also were faced with deficits that had not been predicted, but hit us very hard. Almost $40 million worth of deficits caused by a transition, unfortunately, to Proposition B. Heavy costs in that. The redevelopment changes caused us major expenditures that had to be undertaken that the state, the change in the state law forced us to take as a locally. And also stock markets changes that made a difficulty in meeting our payment to our pension fund. So we had to close that $40 million budget. $40 million deficit, plus any kinds of additions that I want to make. So we present to you a balanced budget. We used, to balance that budget, we had to use what they call one-time revenues, but we had this one-time deficit in this transitional period. We will, Jeff will go over those, what we did. The major thing that we used was about a $20 million monies that came from a settlement with SDGE over their fire liabilities. I believe, though, that we have the ability to move to what is called a structurally balanced budget immediately. That is, when you have your revenues meeting your ongoing revenues, meeting your on-time expenses, that is a structurally balanced budget. We don't have that this year because of the deficit, but we could have it, and we could have it every year from now on. If the council approves a 5-year budget agreement with our employees, it would not only give us labor peace and a stability over 5 years, and not only guarantee the $1 billion in pensionable savings that Prop B offered, even though Prop B is in legal limbo and may be struck down eventually, but would allow an immediate infusion of almost $25 million because they would recalculate the payments that we have to our pension and so alleviate the needs for the major part of our so-called one-time revenues. And we would have approximately, by recalculation of that ARC payment, the annual, now I forgot what it meant. What's ARC?
Annual required contribution.
Annual required contribution to our pension system. they would recalculate that with a 5-year deal with our employees because of the certainty that comes with, and the pensionable pay freeze. And we would have, over the next few years, $60 million more for our budget, just by recalculation of that payment. That would balance our budgets in a structural way. And so I'm asking the council, as part of this budget review, to think very carefully of the ability to finally get to a structural balance with a 5-year deal on our budget. So what we have done is fill the budget gap, fill the deficit gap. We tried to add, as I said, to neighborhood services and to public safety, and then we had to make some other changes because of that. And we're going to go over that. Jeff, you're going to go over that, right? Over the details of that. I'm just seeing if there's any general things that I want to make up for you. Unlike the last 4 or 5 years and a couple that Councilman Alvarez had to go through, there are no cuts in services, as we have had in the past. We have balanced the budget without any cuts in services. We have added certain things in the police academy, for example, community plan updates, changes that people have been wanting to do, more money for tree trimming or potholes. But so we have made gains after a very tough period that Mayor Sanders brought us through. We had a tough period. We are now moving forward, and with the council's help in a 5-year budget deal, 5-year labor deal, we will have a structurally balanced budget for the first time almost in a decade. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our financial manager, Jeff Sturak, who will go over some of the details, which I think we have outlined for you in a handout. And on that handout is the website for you to get. You can look at it, the full budget in all its glory. To save money, of course, we've only had a few of these hard copies printed out, and but you can get it on the website.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Well, good morning. I'm going to go over some statistics of the budget, and then I'm going to go through the neighborhood additions, and then also how we balance the budget. So first, proposed budget is $2.75 billion, and is comprised of 6 operating funds and the capital improvements funds. And total change from 2013 is a negative $1.4 million, or 0.1%. The general fund budget is $1.2 billion, and that's a net change of $36.4 million, or 3.1% from 2013. And then our neighborhood advancements, and these are advancing the quality of life in our neighborhoods. The first is deferred capital, operations and maintenance support, and that's 9 additional positions, which will be in our facilities, and they are trades positions, painters, plasterers, HVAC, and they'll help to start working on our facilities, and that's $3.2 million. And then we have 4.5 positions and $2.4 million for support of our new main library. And then we have $2 million for bond debt support for the $35 million in debt service that was approved by council in March. And then we have $1.6 million for our Penny for the Arts program. And then $1.3 million for the emergency winter shelter to extend it to make it year-round. And then we have 6 positions and $1 million for a new program for the mayor. It's called the Civic and Urban Initiatives Program, and that's going to bring together our fragmented policies and also facilitate staff working groups, incubators, and a new council on civic imagination and urban initiatives. And then we have 7.79 positions and about $900,000 for our new park and rec facilities, and then $800,000 for community plan updates and special projects. And we have also $1 million already in the budget from 2013 for community updates. So between the $800,000 we're adding in 2014 and the $1 million in 2013, we have $1.8 million for community plan updates. And also $500,000 for tree trimming, and 3 positions and about $400,000 for positions to support the 2015 celebration in Balboa Park, and these positions are limited, so they'll end in 2016. And then we have $300,000 for the Balboa Park traffic management plan, and then $200,000 for library public use computers to start replacing the computers out in our branch libraries that are very old. And then we have 1 position and $100,000 for our city bike program. And then one position and $100,000 for the implementation of the property value protection ordinance that was approved by the City Council. And then $700,000 for winter restroom closure restorations. This is going to be Kellogg Park in La Jolla Shores, and then also North Mission Beach.
You didn't say 700,000.
No, 7,000. Thank you. In addition, for public safety, we're adding 16 positions and $1.2 million for police academy recruits. So this will be 4 additional recruits in our 4 academies scheduled in August, November, February, and May. So it's going to go from 30 recruits to 34. And then we have $1.1 million for police equipment. And then we're decreasing the fire vacancy savings by $500,000. So this will bring them more in line with what they've been experiencing the last couple fiscal years. And then $500,000 for a new lifeguard cliff rescue vehicle. And then 12 positions and about $400,000 for lifeguard hourly positions. And then we have 3 positions and $300,000 for fire dispatching. And this is a new contract with the city as a national city in Coronado to provide dispatching services to them. And then other significant adjustments, we have 2 positions and $2.2 million. And this is for a stormwater permit. This is a state mandate. And then we have $1.9 million, and this is for the supplemental cost of living adjustment, COLA. And this is for any retiree that retired before 1982. 1982. And it is for those whose benefits fell below 75%. And there's about 683 people in this pool. And a reserve was established in 1999 of about $35 million, and that is running out in October of this year. So this 1.9 million is total general fund, total city, and then 1.4 million would be for the general fund, and that would extend it through the end of the year. And then the mayor is proposing to have this as a pay-go for future years. And then we have 4 positions and $400,000 in engineering for stormwater compliance on all of our construction projects. And then $300,000 in our facilities department to bring down their vacancy savings, which equates to an additional 8 positions that they can put to maintenance of our facilities. So between the 9 we're adding in the operations and maintenance and the 8 that we're adding back here, and these were previously vacant positions that weren't funded, we're going to have 17 positions for facilities maintenance in the city. And then finally, we have $200,000 for the MTS Bus Pass for Students program, and this is the mayor's program to provide bus passes for low-income students. And then our corrective actions, and this is from our 5-year that was released in October, or the previous mayor's. And the first is the third deferred capital bond issuance. A deferred capital bond issuance was scheduled for this year. And that would mean that the debt service would hit in fiscal year 2014. Based on our spend rate, we are pushing that back to early January 2014. So that's really a cost deference of $5.6 million. And so the debt service would hit in fiscal year 2015. And then we have our stormwater CIP general fund contribution. As part of the $35 million that was approved by the City Council in March, there was $5 million for a stormwater watershed project. The general fund was going to contribute $2.8 million to that, but now that we have the $5 million, that's a cost difference of the $2.9 million. And then we had a $2.1 million for public liability contribution. There was a new actuarial study done on that, and so we don't have to contribute as much as what we were expecting. And then we have deferred capital principal from our capital outlay. Anytime the city sells property, it's deposited in a fund called the Capital Outlay Fund. And one of the eligible expenses is the principal payment on any debt service that we've issued for our deferred capital. And we've been picking up a portion of that, and in the future we'll pick up the full amount of the principal. And so that's a savings of $1.7 million. And then we have $1.4 million. This is a reduction of 13 positions in the city attorney's office. And then between the fiscal years 2009 and 13, total city positions, excluding the city attorney's office, have decreased by a net 674.99 positions, or 6.5%. And while during the same time period, the city attorney's office has experienced a net 7.77 position increase, or 2.29%. And so this reductions will bring the city attorney's office more in line with what other city departments have experienced in the past. And then we have property tax administration fee of $1 million. This is just what the county charges us on an annual basis to administer property tax, and it's just a reduced cost. And then we have operations and maintenance funding for deferred capital. And the enhanced B, which was the program for deferred capital approved by the City Council in 2012, March 2012, they expected $4.2 million. And just because we have the deficit, we're putting $3.2 million, so this is less $1 million for that. And then for revenues, the mayor talked about the $21.6 million that we're using. This is one-time fees and SDG&E. And then our major revenues, our 5-year was projecting increased revenues of $802.5 million. And since that time, we've had new numbers come in, and so it's increased by $5.4 million. And then we have the Redevelopment Property Tax Fund Trust. This is just as a result of the dissolution of the Redevelopment Agency, and that's an additional $3.1 million. And then we had the Transient Occupancy Tax Fund balance is about $12.2 million. In fiscal year 2013, that was put aside to offset the impacts of the redevelopment dissolution. And as you know, we lost the debt service because of that for Petco Park and also the Convention Center Phase 2 expansion. So we're using 7.6 out of this fund balance in TOT. And then we're also using the budgetary surplus that was discussed at the mid-year last month. So that was $5.5 million. We're using $2.1 million. And then we have additional expenses that we put in. The police equipment is one of them. The MTS bus passes is another that will offset those expenses in fiscal year 2014. And then we have a fund called the Police Decentralization Fund. It was established years ago to decentralize the police department out into the different neighborhoods. And we're using fund balance of 1.4 from there. And then also we have an emergency services fund balance of $1 million. So those are the corrective actions. Just to reiterate what the mayor said, the impacts of a 5-year labor agreement, the pension ARC, could offset the use of the one-times. That would be $20 million in fiscal years 2014 and 2015. So a total of 40 in the general fund, and then 52.1 million in the non-general fund. So those could be used to offset our one-time. And then also the mayor will be using will be reviewing all the city operations in the next coming year for fiscal year 2015 to offset any of our one-times with ongoing reductions. So with that, available for questions.
Thank you, Jeff. Again, we have this is a transition budget. I had to take basically what was given to us with some new deficit problems and some new priorities that I wanted to establish. We have balanced those out, and we are within range, again, of a structurally balanced budget. And I hope the council will join us in a 5-year labor deal that would produce that. We have tried to, as I said, concentrate on neighborhoods and public safety, not as much as I would have liked to. I would have liked to put more money in our arts, more money into the neighborhood plans, more money into police and fire. We try to increase those numbers where we could, and we will increase those more if we have that structurally balanced budget. Questions? Mr. Covas.
Mayor, did the city attorney concur in your adjustments? Did you work in a collaborative fashion to
all,
number and positions?
You know, although the process that we went through this year, as I said, was sort of given to me, and we're going to be changing that process in significant ways. But the way the process was is each department submitted their wish list, as it were, and then the financial management team made recommendations based on that. So the department heads, whether it's city attorney or public utilities or anybody, was not informed of the final thing until just on Friday. I'm going to be more collaborative, I think, starting from now on, that we will involve all the department heads, including the city attorney and stuff, in that whole process. So no department was informed of its budget really before Friday, or many today are the employees. As I said, we try to adjust that department, as Jeff, with all the other departments over the years that had seen decreases. The city attorney had not, and we wanted to bring that more in line.
Had you been giving him market signals directly or indirectly?
Market signals?
Letting him know that you were going to be taking money from him. Apparently, he should not have been surprised by
Yeah, well, this is a couple percent. I mean, it's not a major thing. There are vacancies in all the departments that we had mandated, so I'm not sure it's any problem. And under the terms, as I understand of the charter, the attorney could adjust those savings or in any way he wants. So, he has said on a couple occasions, as long as you don't tell me where I have to make the cuts, it's fine.
Mayor, with one deficit of $40 million, how how long you think you can balance the budget? How?
I'm sorry, because of?
With one balance of $40 million, the deficit of
Yeah.
approximately what?
Yeah, I mean, we balance it with a number of mechanisms, including as some one-time revenue, like the public liability fund of the SDG monies. We took some reserve balances from various funds, like transient occupancy tax. By the way, we did not touch the general reserve fund. That is about $154 million in reserves, approximately 13% of our budget. That has not been touched, and we would not touch the public liability reserve if it had not been for that deficit, and we can still put that back in if we have a 5-year budget deal. So we balance it, and in ways that I thought were responsible. We have one-time problem of the deficit, and we balanced it with one-time revenues.
We're still talking about streets. Were you able to do even remotely enough, or?
Well, this is going to be a process. We're putting more with our capital improvement budget into streets. We've made as many adjustments as we can to public to putting more positions in the facilities departments. So we will do a better job. We still have by at least one count almost $1 billion in backlog for work in our city. So it's going to be a process, but we're going to do a better job, and we're going to have a better way for the public to communicate. We will soon announce a whole new process where people using a GPS system, for example, and their smartphone can take a picture of a pothole or graffiti and get it right into our system and get repaired very quickly. So we will have new mechanisms to do that. The money is just, we can't do what we want to do. And we will get there as quick as we can.
Well, let me ask you about how quick you think that'll be. I mean, projecting ahead, which is impossible to do, but I'm going to ask you to do it. When will the city, on basic services, cops, fire, et cetera, be at least where we were 8 years ago before the city went into the tank financially?
Anybody want to give me an answer? Look, I mean, that depends on, again, can we structurally balance this thing? Can we put CIP? And there's community groups working on a potential infrastructure bond. I mean, all those are part of the equation. I mean, I would like to get there within my first term. I hope that we can do that. And therefore have a second term. Hello. You are? Sure.
Assessments for sidewalks and facilities, are they included in the budget?
Assessments for sidewalks and facilities. They have not been included in this budget. We hope to get to that very quickly, and we'll wait for recommendations from the Kersey Infrastructure Committee, but they have not been included in this budget.
Following up on streets, you said that there was more money going into that. Looks like you're taking $1 million out of what was the enhanced option B for streets and other infrastructure funding. Can you explain how you're putting more money in that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how we're taking $1 million out, but go ahead.
So the 5-year, Liam, had $4.2 million for deferred capital. We have $3.2 million. That's the 9 positions for facilities. But part of that $3.2 million is $1.6 million related to streets, and also an additional $769,000 related to stormwater. So, and the $4.2 million, yes, that was a number that that was developed with engineering and capital projects. But we do have, and we need to consider this, there's 17 additional facilities positions that are being added to the budget. So it might be a $4.2 million number, but with 17 positions, they might not be able to do $4.2 million worth of work. So.
But overall, the funding was cut by $1 million for every
what was included in the 5-year, it's 1 million less.
And again, these are additions to what was in the budget originally. I mean, there was a fund to do this originally. I'm not sure exactly how much. I don't know if anybody knows. So the things we went over were changes from the existing budget. They're additions or subtractions, but the fund that was there before is still there, and we're just moving it up from there.
One other question about SDG&E, that you'd originally said after the campaign that you had wanted to put that towards infrastructure. Now it looks like it's being used to balance the budget. Is that right?
Well, yeah, but balancing the budget includes infrastructure, but yeah, which I would like not to have to do, but that's up to the council. Thank you all very much. Look forward to working with you on this over the next unimagined number of days. Thank you all.